What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome to the Pugilistic Linguistic Show. I am your host, Michael Foster, the voice of reason in an increasingly unreasonable world, and I am back. Before I get started, like I say all the time, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when new episodes drop. Get this out to the masses. I need to get this into the algorithm. YouTube don't like to promote small creators. They don't like to amplify smaller people, smaller creators. They push their people. So I need you all to push me. Just listen. It doesn't cost you nothing. Just get more people to listen and subscribe. It is absolutely free. And that helps me more than you'll ever know. So just get it out to the masses. So I've tried to stay away from super heavy topics lately, just because life is super heavy. And like I said in the previous episode, you need a break. Sometimes you just need something to distract you. But life is heavy. Life is super heavy these days. We live in a society reminiscent to Germany in the 30s. I'll let you look that up, and I'm not going to say any buzzwords that YouTube will get mad at me for. That's where we are. Our Constitution is under consistent attack. And we as in the grand thinkers of society, we need to fight back. I am a card-carrying Democrat. I make no bones about that. First of all, I need for all my card-carrying Democrats to stop being afraid of that term, being afraid of being called liberal. We are so scared of being labeled as a liberal that you sometimes compromise your values and your principles in order to not get that label. But conservatives wear their label with like a badge. They wear it like a shield. They love being called conservative, and they don't care what that label means. They don't care. They hold on to it with everything they got. Liberals have a tendency to shirk and to shrink away from being called liberal. We got to stop that. If that's who you are, that's who you are. Embrace it. Because what happens is, because you're so afraid of being labeled that, you don't stand out on principle. You don't stand up for what you believe in. You half-ass it. You hem and you haw, and you don't honor that or defend that with gusto. But a Tucker Carlson will use his conservative badge as a sword. A Candace Owens don't give a damn what you think about her. She calls herself conservative, and she spouts conservative principles. See, the thing about liberals, Democrats that I can't stand is we lose. Democrats lose because we aren't willing to play the game by the rules that are set forth. We nominate Barack Obama's Harvard Law students, Harvard Law editors, and constitutional scholars, and we bring out these grand thinkers to represent us, which is fine. We do Barack Obama's. The conservatives do Donald Trump's. A man that ain't got half a sense that God gave him. Dumb as a box of fucking rocks. But he connects with other people that are dumb as rocks. And he gets elected. But what you don't realize is, and beyond that, just as an aside real quick, Donald Trump can only beat women. If you notice, he's lost to every man he ran against. He can only beat women because the people that elected Donald Trump will never vote for a woman. Now, I don't quite know what that means or what the resolution of that is. But truth is truth. He beat a Hillary Clinton, who in all fairness was acutely unpopular, but probably the most qualified. And he beat a Kamala Harris, who came in with two arms tied behind her back, being black and a woman. But he lost to a Joe Biden, who everybody thought was old, but he was white and a man. So it was an even fight. You may not like it, but truth is truth. So Democrats lose because we are so high-minded. We are so above the fray. They go low, we go high type shit, which has its place, I guess. But we need to start playing this game by the rules that they set. We no longer need to nominate Harvard Law scholars for office. Go find you the nearest game show host and nominate them, because the rules have dictated that the president don't need to know shit. Those are the rules of the game that you play. Let's go find a popular person to run for president. You no longer can say he's not qualified, because you elected a guy that wasn't qualified twice. You will no longer change the rules to fit your game. Donald Trump is the standard now. I remember there was a story that Letitia James, who was the Attorney General in New York, who they tried to railroad on some bullshit trumped up charge that didn't work. And I used that word trumped up on purpose. He mad at her because she had the nerve to indict him. So he's now doing political retribution, but it didn't work. But they're trying to get her to release her tax returns. What do you got to hide? No, the president doesn't have to release his tax returns. So I won't either. You're not going to hold an attorney general to a higher standard than the president. If the president ain't got to do it, I ain't got to do it. Period. No is a complete sentence. And that's what she needed to say. But again, she's too high-minded to state the obvious. That's a Democrat who wants to present themselves as the smart one in the room. No, sometimes you got to get in the mud with the pigs and fight their battle the only way they understand. That's like being in high school and the bully comes up to you and picks on you, and you try to talk your way out of it. That might work sometimes, but sometimes you got to beat that bully's ass. Sometimes talking your way out of it ain't gonna work. You got to swing on that cat. And that's where we as liberals, we as Democrats need to get to. I'm tired of trying to talk my way out of it. Sometimes I had to swing on these dudes. You got to fight fire with fire. If you got to burn some shit up, then burn some shit up. We liberals, we Democrats need to understand this game has changed. We got to fight this the way we got to fight this. This game has changed. Because they playing dirty pool. They're so worried about these midterms, the midterm blue slaughter. They are now trying to change the rules to keep the upper hand. The Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Acts right of 1965. 65. And first of all, I don't know why that's not a law yet. It's still an act, which means acts can be revoked and touched upon or whatever and changed. This has been 61 years and it's not a law yet. Think about that. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 is still up for debate 61 years later. Think about that. Supreme Court has essentially gutted that act in a recent ruling because what's happening is too many black folk are voting. We've got to figure out a way to suppress the vote. Conservatives are constantly trying to take things away from you. Constantly. A liberal, I help me out in the comments if you can come up with something. Name me something that a liberal has tried to take away from the country. And if you do, I need a cogent argument with facts, which means I probably won't get any comments, but neither here nor there. You can't just say shit anymore. Prove it. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you on what you say. Prove it. Those are the only two words that you're going to get out of me. Prove it. Prove what you say with empirical, objective fact. If you can't, we're not going to have a discussion. Simple. So name me something that a liberal has tried to take away from you. The vote, the right to bear arms, freedom of speech. Tell me something. But conservatives are constantly trying to suppress the vote, constantly trying to get people out of the country, constantly, because they know the only way they can be successful is to tamp down the vote. The only way they can be successful is to make the pool smaller of people who don't think like them. They know they got the uneducated vote. They know that. That's a given. They know the stupid people are going to vote for us all the time because they're easily scared. You can say the big bad black man is coming for you and they'll run to the polls to vote for us. You can say the brown person is taking their job and they'll run to the polls. Forget the fact that that's not truth. Forget the fact that the companies are shipping jobs overseas. It ain't the brown people that's taking their jobs. It's the white folk that's taking their jobs. But don't let facts get in the way of a good story. You can scare them into voting you for you. So they always know they got an inherent core group of voters. But the more educated people, the people who think more objectively, the ones that don't fall for your bullshit, they're harder to sway. They're harder to scare. It's not a coincidence that the vast majority of large metropolis areas are blue. That's not a coincidence. There's a reason why LA is blue and San Francisco is blue and Seattle and Chicago, Dallas, and even metropolises in deeply red states are blue. Because typically, if you grow up in a larger city or you spend any significant time in a larger city, you're exposed to more things. And that has a way of shaping your worldview. If you're in the middle of bumfuck Kansas and you were born there and you were raised there and you went to school there, you have a smaller worldview. And 9 times out of 10, you're told what you think. And you don't have any reference point to say, wait a minute. I know some brown people. I know some black people. And they aren't like the way I'm being sold they are. That's why if you look at the map of the United States with red versus blue, it's a whole lot of red and a little bit of blue. But what isn't being told in that image and that map is that in a little bit of blue, those are the most people. Take Illinois, for example. And I talk about Illinois because I'm from there originally. Illinois has a state population of about, 12 million, something like that. And if you look at the map of Illinois, reds and blues, it's a lot of red in that state and a little bit of blue in certain spots. But the certain spots are where the majority of the people live. Chicago has a roughly 8 million people metropolitan area. 3/4 of the state live in one general region of the state. And that area tends to trend blue. So if you look at the state as a whole, you think there's a whole lot of red in Illinois. But if you look at where the blue is, that's where all the people are. So where the people are, that they should dictate how the state moves. If 3/4 of the people live in one area, that one area should have 3/4 of the voting power. That's just common sense. So it's time for liberals to understand the amount of power we have in this country and start to wield it as a sword. Because these Republicans, these white folk are really scared about this blue bloodletting that's coming. And it's coming. So what they're trying to do is change the rules of the game. We can't beat them head up. So we're going to have to cheat. Gut the Voting Rights Act. Let's reestablish some poll taxes and poll tests and things that people got to jump through hoops to get to cast a vote. Let's make it as difficult as possible to cast a vote. And if that doesn't work, let's just redraw the maps to keep red seats red. That happened in Texas. They redrew maps and gained some red seats. It's trying to happen in Tennessee. We're going to do a study to revisit the maps. Why? What's broken about it? What's broken about it is the fact that they're starting to trend blue or purple. So we can't have that. We have to change the rules of the game because we can't win head up. They tried that shit in Virginia and it backfired and it gained Democratic seats. Virginia was like, all right, cool. Y'all want to play this game? Let's play this game. See, it's time for us to stop being so high-minded. It's time for us to stop trying to be so pious. We're much better than that. No, fuck all that. No, we're not. It's time for us to get in the mud with the pigs. Play the game the way they want to play it. Ain't no shame in this game. Because ultimately there are only two outcomes. Either you win or you lose. And I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. I'd rather win with mud on my face than lose with this high-mindedness. Because at the end of the day, it's all about winning and losing. Kamala Harris was the better candidate. It don't matter. It never matters who the better candidate is. Who connects with enough of the country? So I have no problem with coming out and attacking your opponent. As long as what you say is true. Donald Trump is an idiot. Here's why I call him that. And you lay your case. Kamala, you a prosecutor. You eviscerated him in the debate. That didn't matter, though. The debate can't be the only place where you're eviscerated. The debate can't be the only place where you actually tell truth about him. Everywhere I go, I would have been like, Donald Trump is an idiot. And here's why I call him that. He is ill prepared. He is ill fit. He is ill equipped to run this country. And here's why I say that. And the thing has to be, and here's why I say that. And you hammer that point over and over and over and over and over. Because the people who believe you they're gonna follow you. Both of y'all have inherent groups that are gonna vote for you. Both of you. Donald Trump gets about 72, 73 million people to vote for him. Period. That ain't gonna change. He ain't trying to get no more. What he's trying to do is make sure you get less. He ain't trying to get more. He's trying to make sure you get less. That's how he wins. That's how all of his cronies win. Not by getting more votes. It's by suppressing the people who vote for you. And I hate to say it this way, Democrats, you're too chicken shit to call a spade a spade. J.D. Vance is ill-equipped to be vice president, and here's why. Yeah, you sell your view of America, but you also contrast your view of America with specific reasons why your view of America contrasts with your opponent's view of America. I believe this, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. But here's what they are trying to do to you in contrast to me. Whereas I'm trying to get home health care covered under Medicare, they're trying to get rid of Medicare. That's how you do it. Democrats lose because Democrats are trying to be too high-minded. You can always wash mud off your body after you win. But I'd rather win ugly and wash the mud off after the fact than be pristine coming out as a loser. I'm liberal. I have no problem with that. You can call me liberal all you want. And what is your point? I believe in helping people. I believe in helping all people. People don't realize that red states need more government assistance than blue states. But the people in red states are so stupid that they believe it when the Republicans say to them, the blue states are taking all your money. Yet 65% of money that government takes in come from blue states. And it's distributed. Do you know I think it was the lowest 11 states in the country as far as literacy and income and all that? They're all red states. I live in Mississippi. Mississippi is its own country. Third world at that. There's still a ton of broke, poor ass white folk who think the black man is their enemy. Who think the brown person is their enemy. Yet their pockets are getting picked by the rich white people. And they too stupid to realize it. And a lot of red states are the same way. It's time for Democrats to wage war for what we believe in. And it's also time for us to stop being afraid of what we believe in. It's time for us to wrap ourselves in that liberal blanket. Yes, I'm liberal. So what? That's not an insult. I'm not afraid of that. The same way you love being an evangelical Christian who prays at the shrine of Donald Trump, which for the life of me, I don't understand that. You call yourself Christian, but you follow a man who is a serial adulterer, bigot, money laundering, racist, and you think God sent him? What God you serve? I don't want no parts of him. I'll just stick with the one I talk about. Because the God you serve sounds terrible. If that's who he picked. But these evangelical Christians love them some Donald Trump. These MAGA folk, I swear, being a serial child predator has to be in the job description of being MAGA. How many MAGA folk in the public eye have that jacket on them? Serial child predator. From senators to representatives, hell, to the president. That must be in the job description. But they win. Why do they win? Because they're willing to do anything to do it. So it's time for us to start doing anything to win. Because again, there's no honor in second place when there are only two combatants. I'm not suggesting we get as sleazy as them. But I am suggesting we need to start fighting fire with fire. I'm liberal. So, what's your point? Now, are there some things I'm conservative about in life? Yeah. But overall, I consider myself to be liberal. I want to help people. I think the weakest in our society needs the most help.